I think we're all organised, and would you please welcome to Falkirk Folk Club, Mr. George Murphy.
Yeah. Thank you, Charlie. Can't wait till I get back home and tell the people at home that I witnessed the resurrection of Ian Edwards. I do believe in the resurrection now, after all. I never believed in it till tonight. For a man that's dead, Ian, you're looking shocking well. Well done. Oh, that wasn't meant to come out. Thank you. That was a couple of wee jigs. Now we'll see if we're working, Charlie. What do you reckon? Can you hear it? Right. Some man down, that gentleman with the glasses down there along the side said to me, I was looking at my instruments before we started there. And he looked at me and he says, are they all in tune? Well, I said they were when I bought them. Not sure what happened to them since. Going to do a song. We have a great laid-back nature apparently back at home. And we have a great habit of saying, what's your hurry? What's your hurry? So there's no hurry when you're singing songs and telling stories. There should never be a hurry. And this is a wee song telling you not to be in any rush when you're singing or telling stories. Still playing, the night is still young. There's stories to tell, songs to be sung. So pull up your chair, we'll all sing along. What's your hurry? sit yourself down and don't be alarmed. Let the music sweep you away with its charm. For we in the company, we mean you no harm. What's your hurry? The latch it is lifted as they come in the door. Wait for the music, then take the floor, and they dance like you've never seen dancing before. What's your hurry? The pipers still playing, the night is still young, and there's stories to tell, songs to be sung, so pull up your chair, we'll all sing along. What's your hurry? The fiddler, he's playing the old mountain reel, the dancers are kicking up sparks with their heels, the cat hides in the corner, I know how it feels. What's your hurry? There's snow on the mountain behind the town, the moon shining bright on a night without sound. Here in the lampshade the music resounds. What's your hurry? The pipers still playing, the night is still young, and there's stories to tell and songs to be sung, so pull up your chair, we'll all sing along. What's your hurry? The clock on the wall says it's time to move on, but the people are shouting for just one more song. We'll sing them an old one, they can all sing along. What's your hurry? Have you no homes to go to? The owner roars again, the lunatics are at it, the whole place is insane. So this singer he shouts out, will we all do it again and again and again and again? What's your hurry? The pipers still playing and the night is still young, there's stories to tell and songs to be sung, so pull up your chair, we'll all sing along. What's your hurry? Pipers still playing, the night is still young, and there's stories to tell and songs to be sung, so pull up your chair, we'll all sing along. What's your hurry? There's no hurry. There's no hurry. Oh! Thank you. I heard a few people joining in there. Hi. Spot on. We could be a duo before the night's finished. Okay? Thank you very much. You get the drift. There's no worry. Now, in this crazy world of folk music that we all play in, there's people who would call themselves folk singers, like Dougie McLean, Kate Rusby, and all those people. Brilliant people. They're called folk singers. And then there's people who would be called ballad singers, like Luke Kelly and people like that. And then there's people who do the two, and they would be called a folk and ballad singer. And if you say that quickly, the ballad singer doesn't come out of it particularly well. So we're going to do a wee song, well, I'm going to do a wee song called Where Did All the Folk and Ballad Singers Go? So if you want to join in the chorus, by all means, but try and don't curse. Where did all the folk and ballad singers go? No more we'll hear the seagull cry, nor Mary from Dunlow. No Pucker Bay or even will you go, lassie, go. Johnny Drew, make 'em in the Clancy crew, where all the music I heard as a boy. Now the gays are in Decayley, Celtic fans love Paddy Riley when he sings about the fields of Athenry. Now there's wine bar selling Carmany, Beaujolais and Chardonnay, punters wearing smarter money suits. They're far removed from local pubs, pint of stout and a gang of cubs, and there aren't sweaters, fiddles and their flutes. Someone will burst into song and everyone will sing along. We will all do the best we can, without the aid of substances like ecstasy or cannabis, or crack was mighty in the Isle of Man. Where did all the folk and ballad singers go? No more we'll hear the seagull cry nor Mary from Dunlow, no Popper Bay or even when you go, lassie go. Where did all the folk and ballad singers go? Planksty and the Bothy band played away throughout the land, from Mullingar to Dingle and Listowel, with bazookies, pipes and mandolins, and Christy and Liam O'Flynn. Now there was sex and drugs and rock and roll. We learned the words and played the tunes in pubs and clubs and living rooms. Everybody shouted, "Fine girl you are." Now to Louis Walsh's great delight, it's Westlife morning and a night, how easy it's become to be a star. Give us the beat of an old baron or someone singing Sleeving them on, then I'll realise that I'm in luck. Ballads are not your cup of tea, maybe you would rather see Brendan Boyer doing the hucklebuck. Where did all the folk and ballad singers go? No more we'll hear the seagull cry nor Mary from Dunlow, no Popper Bay or even will you go, lassie go. Where did all the folk and ballad singers go? Lovely. You haven't coursed yet. Mother always said, take care, keep the faith and say a prayer. Sometimes get along to confessions. God will grant us our desire, Lord, before they do retire. Round them up for one final session. There'll be a mighty night of song and dance with Dick Gahan, Luke Kelly, Kate Rosby playing with Matt Malloy. 6 on wheels and Walter Slow and Step McGeely on the go, and Shane McGowan choking Danny Boy. The crack would be great and the pints would flow, and no one would ever want to go. Give us one last verse of Fiddler's Green. The only way to make them move, get them up and make them move. Someone start to sing the Flower of Scotland. Where did all the folk and ballad singers go? No more we'll hear the seagull cry nor Mary from Dunlow, no Pucker Bay or even will you go, lassie go. Where did all the folk and ballad singers go? Well, we try the chorus. Where did all the folk and ballad singers go? No more we'll hear the seagull cry nor Mary from Dunlow, no Pucker Bay or even will you go, lassie go. Where did all the folk and ballad singers go? Where did all the folk and ballad singers go? Boom! Thank you. Thank you. Thank you much for giving me a bit of a hand that you did as you did along the line. I'm looking around the crowd tonight, and I don't take this the wrong way now, but it sort of reminds me of the Last Supper. No, it's not your Last Supper, so don't be panicking. It's not your Last Supper. But and when I say the Last Supper, I used to be in a previous life, I used to be a school teacher. I used to teach in a primary school. And then I escaped. I went out the back gate one day and I never come back. No, I'm only joking. But I'll tell you what, I remember many years ago when I started to teach, I was subbing. You know what subbing is? You know, subbing was whenever the other teacher went off and pretended to be sick, and then I went on and I pretended to teach. It was a good mixture, you know, we had the best of both worlds. But I remember one day we were talking about the Last Supper, we were doing religion in a class, and I asked what I thought was a very easy question. I said to the children, how many people were at the Last Supper? And this wee lassie stuck her hand up and she says, please sir, there was 14. I said, so many? She says, please sir, there was 14. I said, well, who was the 14? She says, please sir, there was God, there was the 12 apostles, and there was the photographer. You didn't know there was a photographer there that night, did you? No. If you had the Last Supper now, you wouldn't need the photographer. You could just do a selfie, couldn't you? You wouldn't even need it. I'm looking around to see where Judas is. Who's the Judas? It's not often a guy puts his hand up and owns up to it. That's me. I'm the guy. Did you get the 30 pieces of silver, was it, or 30 pieces of gold? Did you get paid up yet? Now, I'm going to do a song. I remember many years ago when I started playing the music, I was at college in England. And I used to go to the folk clubs. And there was a man I got to meet, and his sound now since passed away, Vin Garbutt. Did you ever meet him? Yeah. He's from up around Newcastle, Sunderland way, around there. He was a great lad. I got to know him quite well. Unfortunately, he's now passed away about 4 years ago, isn't that right? And I remember him saying to me one night, many years ago, he says, young Murphy, he says, every night you play, he says, sing one of my songs, right? And I did for a lot of years, and then I stopped, such as you do. And then God rest him, he passed away. And I said, I will. I'm going to do one of Vin's songs tonight. It's a brilliant song, The Man of the Earth. And it's a song about when we retire, we end up in the scrap heap, basically. Nobody cares. Mind you, have to say, I'm retired, and I quite enjoy it. And in fact, I think my retirement's so good that if I had known it was this good, I would have done it first. Right? And that's the story of when we quit the work, right? Every day as I go through the old shanty town, where the sheds and the lodgmen say stand, I see that old man of the land, with the rake or a spade in his hand. He's there in all the weathers, in sunshine and rain. He stops as I go past. Is he happy or sad in his task? Sure, I haven't time for to ask. Man of the earth, man of the soil, and this lonely ladman's, he labours and toils. He's not much to do since he turned 65. So he stuck to his garden to keep him alive. 40 years in the ironworks broke his will, his back and his shoulders were round. There was no other work in the town, so they had him both bettered and bound. Then all of a sudden he turned 65. The boss said, thank you, my man. Then he stuck a gold watch in his hand, and behind him the door quickly slammed. A man of the earth, a man of the soil, in his lonely allotments he labours and toils. He's not much to do since he turned 65. So he stuck to his garden to keep him alive. Every Saturday evening he's down at the club. He stands with his mates at the bar, slowly supping a solitary jar, for a pension won't go very far. So he sells a few things to his neighbours and friends, a few of the things that he grows. But he asks them, watch where they go, for they'll stop all his pension he knows. A man of the earth, a man of the soil, in his lonely allotments he labours and toils. He's not much to do since he turned 65, and he's stuck to his garden to keep him alive. Every day as I go through the old shanty town, where the sheds and the lodgings they stand, sure I see that old man of the land, with the rake or a spade in his hand. But I cannot linger, I must be gone, for I work in the iron works too. I started there 5 years ago, so I've 45 more years to go. A man of the earth, a man of the soil, in his lonely allotments he labours and toils. He's not much to do since he turned 65, so he stuck to his garden to keep him alive. Oh, a man of the earth, a man of the soil, in his lonely allotments he labours and toils. He's not much to do since he turned 65, for he stuck to his garden to keep him alive. You trying the chorus, are we ready? I am a man of the earth, a man of the soil, on his lonely allotments he labours and toils. He's not much to do since he turned 65, so he stuck to his garden to keep him alive. Oh! Thank you. God rest Vin, he's passed away. He wrote some brilliant songs, and I had the pleasure of being in his company a number of times. And it was always a pleasure, absolutely. Now, going to do a wee song with this machine. You all know what this is. Bowrun. Bowrun. Some people call it bowrun, some people call it bowrun. It's actually a goat skin, right? It's a goat skin. You all know that. That's why when you drive to Ireland, and you go around Ireland and you look into the fields and the mountains and you see the goats grazing, you'll see a big circle in their side. We don't kill the goat, we just cut the skin off and then have them kick an arse and tell them to go away and grow another one. No, we don't. But every time I sing a song with the bar on, I remember back when the great folk revival came in, and I'm looking around all of our audience, we're of the vintage, we all remember the folk revival in the early 70s, you remember? When it became really fashionable. Oh, I don't, unfortunately, there's a girl in the front row, she can't remember. No, I don't expect. We do. All right, don't we? We do. The early 70s was the folk revival, and it was great. Brilliant. You know, I was growing up, I was very impressed by it all, for obvious reasons. Hello? Hello? Did that go off? Hello? Hello, hello? 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 Hello?
I have to change it. Try it again.
1, 2, 1, 1.
Wait a second. Just
One. That's an echo, is it, or what is it? One. It's just cracked. What about there? That there, not organ. That cable.
It's meant to be a good cable as well. So good it doesn't work.
Just talk amongst yourselves. Did you ever notice that? Remember the concerts years ago? When something broke down, say, just talk amongst yourselves. 1, 2. Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1. 1. 1, 1, 1. We might end up doing this night acoustic. Oh,
That's a bit of microphone.
is it? We'll try that one. 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. Nothing happening now. Hello? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 1. Still crackling, but is it? 1.
Let's use a different channel. It's not the mic, it's not the cable. It must be the... Oops, didn't use it at the time. I'll just pop it onto a
1,
different
2,
channel.
1, 2.
Let's go into this one.
Could maybe that is the case.
Get a number.
I use it. 1. Who? Oh, hi, right here. 1, 1. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Ah! Go! We're sucking these. And by the way, I was just, the next part of the show, I was just about to thank Charlie. Only joking. I have great admiration for sound men because I honestly think whatever time we die and leave this planet, whether there's a heaven or a hell, I don't know. Nobody's come back and told me. But if there's a heaven or a hell, sound men will definitely be there. So, all joking aside, they're the greatest patients in the wide world and I totally admire them. So put your hands together and give Charlie a big round of applause. Why not? Okay. This is a song was written by a goat. Not me now. By a goat. Now the goat wrote this song because the goat wanted to be a bowrun. In other words, it's a better life being a bowrun than being a bloody goat, right? A goat, you just be in the field. A bowrun, you get to festivals and flies and all over the country, so why wouldn't you? So this is a song written as though it was the goat that wrote the song, if you follow where I'm going. Right? So, when I grow up, I want to be a bowrun. That's the name of the song. So the goat grows up and wants to be a bowrun. I am just a year-old kid. I'm worth barely 20 quid. I'm the kind of beast that you might well look down on. But at the time of my decease, my value will increase. For when I grow up, I want to be a bowrun. You may kill me for me meat. You won't find me very sweet. Your palate, I'm afraid, will soon turn sour. But if you do me in, for the sake of my thick skin, you'll find I'll make a tasty little bowrun. Oh, me parents, Bill and Nan, do not approve me plan to become a yoke for every yob to pound on. But I would sooner scamper than go out without a whimper and achieve reincarnation as a bowrun. I look forward to the day I give up eating hay and become a drum to entertain a crowd on. I will make my presence felt with some well-delivered belts as a fully qualified and licensed bowrun. Diddly dum to diddly dum to diddly da diddly rum to diddly dum to da her up to diddly diddly da. When I'm killed and cured, my career will be assured. I'll be a skin you'll find no scum or squire on. With studs around me rim, I'll be sound in wind and limb. I'll be a handy dandy little bower, and oh, me heartless joy expands when I dream of far off lands, and I consider all the streets that I might sound on. Oh, I pity my poor ma, who has never had a flaw, or indulged in foreign travel as a bower. Oh, a cat's life they're 9, but they're not so very fine, and a dog is much material to growl on. But if you're a goat, you can strike a merry note, provided you have first become a bower. And for a hornpipe or a reel, a dead donkey has no fail, or horse or cow or sheep that has its right on. And you can't beat out a jig as a farmer grady pig, but you can wallop out the lot if you're a bower. Daddle-dee up to dee diddle-dee daddle-dee diddle-dee up to dee diddle-dee daddle-dee diddle-dee up to dee daddle up to dee diddle-dee diddle-dee dam. Oh, if you're feeling low, to a session you should go, and bring me along to entertain an hour on. You can strike a mighty thump on me belly, back or rump, but I'd thank you if you'd wait till I'm a bower. When I dedicate me hide, I'll enhance me family's pride, for tradition is not a thing that I'll fall down on. I will bear a few young bucks who'll inherit my good looks, and be glad to know their old man was a bower. I don't think I much mind when I leave himself behind, and I find I can no longer turn the power on. With a Celtic ink design tattooed on my behind, I'll be a very sexy little bower. Oh, I think you've had enough of this rubbish old guff, so I'll bring a sudden end to this wee iron. Aye, and soon me belly belate will become a steady beat in me brand new existence as a bower. Aye, and soon me belly belate will become a steady beat in me brand new existence as a bower. Lump to diddly dandy diddly dump to diddly dundy diddly rump to diddly dundy daddly rump to diddly diddly da lump to diddly rump to diddly dandy diddly rump to diddly dandy diddly rump to didda rump to diddly diddly daddle lump to diddly diddly daddle daddly diddly rump to diddly da daddly rump to didda rump to diddly diddly daddle lump to diddly diddly da daddly diddly rump to diddly 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 rump to didda rump to diddly diddly da. God help the poor goat. If he didn't feel that, there's something badly wrong with him. This song I'm going to do is a song I wrote with another lad at home, another one. You know how we've all neighbours, and we only realise how much we hate our neighbours when we need to borrow something from the neighbour, right? Now, this guy actually was going to a music session one night, and he walked out the door and he dropped his fiddle and it smashed on the floor. But he was dying to go to the music session. And Mrs. Sweeney next door played the fiddle. So he decided to go and borrow it, but he hated Mrs. Sweeney. So he sort of got to the door, and by the time he got to the door and asked for the fiddle, he'd convinced himself she didn't want to give it to him. So then he politely told her to stick it, even before she got a chance to refuse to give it him. Right. This song sort of tells that story. Okay? And we're all live again. Okay. All right, now, Tiardy. Patrick George McCafferty was the name of the guy. So, he dropped the fiddle, and he smashed it, and then this is what happened. Well, Patrick James McCafferty was a fiddler of renown. He was invited to a fiddler's night beyond in Tripper's Town. He shaved, he dressed that evening, and he headed for the door. He tripped and he dropped the fiddle, and it smashed upon the floor. His face turned white, his heart stood still, his head was in a spin. Sure, he would go nowhere at all without that violin. What will I do, he said at last, as he viewed the sad remains, unless I go to Sweeney's now and borrow Mary Jane's. So he threw his leg across the bike and he headed down the lane. But as he went he was less content about asking Mary Jane if I thought she would not help me out. Sure, I'd just as soon not go. But when she hears what happened, I'm sure she won't say no. But my father always said that those Sweeneys weren't too free, and I'm damned if I'll give that bitch the chance of saying no to me. I don't know where they think they are, but sure I could let them know they hadn't the nails to scratch themselves not very long ago. Well, they say that muck flies high when you hit it with a stick, and up starts like the Sweeneys, they're enough to make you sick. But they won't make a fool of me, and if Mary Jane is in, I'll tell her very quick where she can shove her violin. Oh, Mary Jane came to the door with a smile upon her face, for Patrick James was always welcome around about Sweeney's place. Good evening to you, Patrick James, are you coming in a while? You can go to hell, said Patrick James, so Sweeney dropped a smile. I'll not be in your door again, he roared, he turned to go. Sure, I knew damn well before I came that the answer to it would be no. You can take that lump of woodworm that you've hanging on the wall, and where the monkey stuck his nuts, shove it, bow and all. Take that lump of woodworm that you've hanging on the wall, and where the monkey stuck his nuts, shove it, bow and all. Can you see the lovely community we are? As I said to somebody the other day, we get on with everybody in the world except each other. Over in our neck of the woods. We love everybody else. Don't like our people, we like each other. And Patrick James McCafferty, that lad, he was a real character actually. He was a fiddle player, but he wasn't a great fiddle player, if you know what I mean. Musicians will understand what I'm saying. He always wanted to be in the session, but he wasn't really as good a player as the rest of the players, right? He missed bits of the tunes. He played most of the tune, but he left chunks of it out, you see. So everybody knew that, but he had a wild habit when he was playing the fiddle. His feet bounced up and down. He was like Michael Flatley with a fiddle. Up and down and up and down and up and down. And the feet never set, but he was fiddling away, but he was leaving out chunks and chunks and chunks of this tune. So one night he was playing in a local session, and I seen these two boys up at the bar. They were watching, you see, they were watching. They knew what was going on, and his feet was bouncing about all over the place. Somebody said to them, why does Paddy Jared always keep his feet bouncing up and down whenever he plays the fiddle? To which the other guy says to him, he says, he says, that's simple. He says, every time he drops a note, he kicks it in onto the table. So he had to keep the feet busy. Going to finish the first half now with one with a nice easy chorus in it. It's a wee song about the south of England, a wee place called Yarmouth. But there's a dead easy chorus in it, right? So depending on you. I know you haven't really got right warmed up with the choruses just yet. And we'll do a few in the second half where you'll really get at it big time. Well, in Yarmouth Town there lived a man. He had a little tavern down by the Strand, and the landlord had a daughter fair, pretty little thing with golden hair. At night there came a sailor man. He asked the daughter for her hand. Away with a marry you, she said, I have all I want without being wed. Well, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Won't you coming down, won't you coming down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? That very night the sailor man went to the tavern down by the Strand, and as he passed by she pulled the string, and she came down and let him right in. He never saw such a fight before. The string around her finger was all she wore. Then the words the young man said, to you my girl I'll never be wed. Well, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? The sailor stayed the whole night through. Early in the morning he went back for his crew, and he told them about the maiden fair, the pretty little thing with the golden hair. News it soon got around. The very next night in Yarmouth Town, there was 16 sailors pulling the string. She came down and let them all in. Well, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? All young men who to Yarmouth go, you see a pretty maid with hair hanging low, all you gotta do is pull the string. She'll come down and let you all in. In Yarmouth Town there lived a man. He had a little tavern down by the Strand, and the landlord had a daughter fair, a pretty little thing with golden hair. Well, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Won't you coming down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth? And again, oh, won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Won't you coming down, won't you coming down, won't you come? Play yourselves, here you go. Won't you come down, won't you come down, won't you come down? Love it. Won't you come down? Love it. Now we'll all do it again. One more. Won't you come down? Won't you come down? Won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Oh, won't you coming down? Won't you coming down? Won't you come down to Yarmouth Town? Boom. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll see you again after the break and the raffle and all that kind of stuff. And we'll do it all again the second half. Thank you very much. Well done. There's a couple of people still at the toilet. No, thanks, Scott. No, well, not now. Maybe after the show, yeah. Yeah. It's very difficult eating a sweet and playing the tin whistle at the one time. Is these communal sweets? Are they for everybody? All right. Did somebody win them? Oh, you won them, aye? Oh, good lad. Thank you very much. That's my Christmas box. Right. I'm going to start saving to buy you something back. Good. So, we'll have a lot of people running around Falkirk tomorrow with the toothache. Shouldn't have had those sweets. All right, I think there's still a couple of people to come back yet. We'll just wait till they all get settled. Sorry? Harry, you're getting a lot of abuse. Are you the target for telling jokes? It's not easy. The guy said it was easy, was leaving bits out. Well, okay. I think everybody's on board now, Charlie, are we? We're all on board, are we? Near enough. Hey. There you go. That was a wee slow air and a tune stuck behind it. I'm going to do a song now that myself and another lad put together, Jim Miller. Jim was originally from Kilmarnock, and you'll all know where that is. And then he came over to our town, Dungiven. Charlie, you remember? And he met a woman, and obviously she won the argument, so he stayed. But he played music with us for years. Me and him, we played over there in a folk group. And this is a wee song we wrote, sort of about his upbringing in Kilmarnock. Killytown is called, isn't it? Kilmarnock's called Killytown. And this is his upbringing and influence, a couple of influences that might have been on him and his growing up and his time, and then he eventually stayed over and lived over where we all live now. And he was a great musician. Jim was a brilliant musician, great guitar player, banjo player, but he didn't just play folk, he would have played blues, and Kentucky and all sorts of stuff. He was just very naturally, he was very, very good. So we put this together as sort of his lifetime. This is me, I am what I am. Love me or leave me, I don't give a damn. This is me, I do what I do. Play me old six-string, singing the blues. A fella once asked me, where you from? Old Killytown, a long time gone, laughing and joking with days gone by. I don't remember much, hard as I try. Me and Amelia holding hands, kissing and hugging by the Carna Strand. We watch TV and dig John Wayne, listen to the radio, fire and rain. And this is me, I am what I am. You can love me or leave me, I don't give a damn. And this is me, I do what I do. Play me old six-string, singing the blues. I've got some guitars, I could sell 2 or 3. I might buy me a banjo or a ukulele. I'd love a Fender or Gibson, that's all. But I ain't got no money, 'cause me back's against the wall. For this is me, I am what I am. You can love me or leave me, I don't give a damn. And this is me, I do what I do. I play me old six-string, singing the blues. I watch the Corries and Deacon Blue, moving hearts and Planksty too. I watched Dig Gone and River Dance, Capper Keely and even Foy Vance. This is me, I am what I am. You can love me or leave me, I don't give a damn. Ah, this is me, I do what I do. I I play me old six string, singing the blues. I'm up a ladder with a hawk in my hand, but I ain't happy till I play in the band, singing songs. That's what we do, along with Falkirk, aye, Untitled Blue. This is me, I am what I am. You can love me or leave me, don't give a damn. Ah, this is me, I do what I do. I play me old six string, singing the blues. Will we try it? This is me, I am what I am. Love me or leave me, love me or leave me, I don't give a damn. Again, this is me, I do what I do. Play me old six string, singing the blues. Will you ever go yourself? This is me, I am what I am. Love me or leave me, don't give it. This is me, this is me, I do what I do. Play me old six string, singing the blues. This is me, I am what I am. Love me or leave me, I don't give a damn. This is me, I do what I do. Play me old six string, singing the blues. Whoa! You can see Jim had a bit of an attitude, hasn't he? You can leg it or lump it. Thank you very much. Just before I left to come over here, I'm going home tomorrow again, and I've been here for 10 days, and it's been very good. But before I left, there was an incident a couple of days before I left. We've new neighbours moved in just next door, a man and woman, right? And just the day before I left, myself and Mary and the wife were standing, we were looking out the window, you see, and we saw the man and wife coming out. I thought the two of them were getting into the car. But it turned out whenever they went out, he opened the door and the lady, the wife, got into the car. So obviously he wasn't going anywhere. And then he closed the door and she screwed down the window. And he leaned in the window and he put his two arms around her. And he gave her the biggest, juiciest, oh lads, don't even go there, the biggest, juiciest kiss you ever seen in your life. He nearly swallowed her. Right? And we were standing watching, seeing the wife, as he did it, my wife, boom, hit me a dig in the ribs. And I jumped. And I says, what are you doing that for? She says, look at that. You never do that. And I says, well, darling, I can't really, because I don't really know that woman that well. I've got another dig for that. Oh my God. Who said that? Oh, Alistair. No matter who comes on here, you seem to be the butt of the whole thing. That's not fair. I'm on Harry's side here, lads. Hold on a minute. Okay. Right. I'm going to do a song now. You know politicians. We all love politicians. Yeah, we do, yeah. Dead ones. We love politicians, but you ever notice when you ask a politician a question, they always give you a whole big rhyme that has nothing to do with the question, right? And no matter what question they're asked, they give the same rhyme, you know. So this is a wee song that sort of shows you how that can be very, very confusing, and it doesn't get you very far. So this is a song about a political guy who gives the same answer regardless of what question he's asked. For 20 frantic For 20 frantic, frivolous years I worked in Belfast town. Reporting for newspapers, I was busy writing down all the words of politicians in my endless quest for truth. 'Twas such a wasted exercise, sure I squandered all my youth. 'Twas the cause of my misfortune, as I will explain to you. I ended up talking like politicians do. And if anyone should ask me, do I take sugar in my tea? I grasped them firmly by the hand, and this is what I'd say. Well, I'm very glad you asked me that, for at this point in time, in the circumstances that prevail, there isn't a pipeline. Infrastructure implications interface with lines of thought which lead to grassroots viabilities, in which this case I'd rather not enunciate an ambiguity, but rather seek to find negotiated compromise, which is the bottom line, for full and frank discussion which would serve to integrate with basic fundamental principles to which we all relate, not in doctrine or philosophy which any fool can see, an inescapable hypotenuse confronting you and me. So in the interest of the common good, now you need never fear, for I've got the matter well in hand, and I'm glad I've made things clear. As you can imagine, this has greatly changed my life. An example was the fateful day when I wed my wife. All went well until the moment the priest asked me with a smile, do you take this woman for your wife? So swiftly I replied, well, I'm very glad you asked me that, for at this point in time, in the circumstances that prevail, there isn't a pipeline. Infrastructure implications interface with lines of thought which lead to grassroots viabilities, which is case I'd rather not enunciate an ambiguity, but rather seek to find negotiated compromise, which is the bottom line, for full and frank discussion which would serve to integrate with basic fundamental principles to which we all relate, not in doctrine or philosophy which any fool can see. An inescapable hypotenuse confronting you and me. So in the interest of the common good, now you need never fear, for I've got the matter well in hand, and I'm glad I've made things clear. Now, I'm lying in my deathbed, and I'm filled with mortal dread, for I know that shortly I will certainly be dead. And when St. Peter asked me, would you like to come on in, I'm sure to face damnation, for you know I'll say to him, well, I'm very glad you asked me that, for at this point in time, in the circumstances that prevail, there isn't a pipeline. Infrastructure implications interface with lines of thought which lead to grassroots viabilities, which is case I'd rather not enunciate an ambiguity, but rather seek to find a negotiated compromise, which is the bottom line, for full and frank discussion which is served to integrate with basic fundamental principles to which we all relate, not in doctrine or philosophy which any fool can see, an inescapable hypotenuse from confronting you and me. So in the interest of the common good, no, you need never fear, for I've got the matter well in hand, and I'm glad I've made things clear. Now, that's the chorus. Are you going to give me a hand? Ready? Here we go. And we'll make it easy for you. We'll speed it up. Ready? Chorus. Well, I'm very glad you asked me that, for at this point in time, in the circumstances that prevail, there isn't a pipeline. Infrastructure and applications interface with lines of thought leads to grassroots viabilities, which is case I'd rather not enunciate an ambiguity, but rather seek to find negotiated compromise, which is the bottom line, for full and frank discussion which is served to integrate with basic fundamental principles to which we all relate, not in doctrine or philosophy which any fools can see, an inescapable hypotenuse confronting you and me. So in the interest of the common good, no, you need never fear, for we've got the matter well in hand, and I'm glad I've made things clear. Yes, I've got the matter well in hand, and I'm glad I've made things clear. I'm glad I've made things very, very, very clear. Thank you. That wouldn't be a politician's answer, would it? Not half. Not half. Not much. There was no party. No, dear. You hear Boris at that one. They were turning up with funny dresses and stuff in their hat, in their head, and a load of drink, and a load of sweets, and a load of chocolate, but it wasn't a party. Must have been awake then. Over in our country, that's what we do for wakes, right? But I don't think that's Boris was talking about. Politicians, oh my God. I honestly think politicians are like babies' nappies. They should be changed often and for the very same reason. They're not half full of it, are they? Oh, well, not much, not much. Thank you. I'm going to do a song now. I used to do this song years ago, and I got half of it from a guy, and then me and him sat down and we made the rest of it. And I started to do it again because in 1986, Chernobyl. Do you remember Chernobyl? We all heard about Chernobyl. There's a wee town outside that, Pripyat. So I got this song, and the lad actually was on an excursion thing that goes and visits them places. And there was a big sermon. And this guy got up and sung half of this song. And the man came home to me and he says, "Where do you hear this?" And he gave me and him sit down, and then we put the rest of it together. And I did it for years, and then I stopped doing it because, like everything else, you move on and becomes history, unfortunately, whether we like it or not. And then this year's the 35th anniversary, right? And I saw a couple of documentaries, and I thought, Jesus, when I seen the documentary, I realised how bad it was, right? So I decided to do the song again, and I'm going to do it tonight. Ready? Pripyat's the name of the wee town that was destroyed. And did you see the documentary? They actually go and camp on it for the weekend. People go in, they're not allowed in. The police are trying to stop them because the air's toxic. But they go and spend weekends in it. Staggering. Just to be there. Okay. It was a Friday in April, 1986, the day that our lovely town died. The dust it rained down on the buildings and streets and into our bedrooms at night. Touched the grass and the trees, bicycle cars, bed books and picture frames too. We stood around, helpless, confused. Nobody knew what to do. 2 o'clock Sunday, the buses arrived, a fleet of 1,000 or more. We were ordered to be on our way, not knowing what lay in store. Some of our citizens fled in dismay to look for a good place to hide. 4 o'clock came and the last bus pulled out. That was the day our lovely town died. Ah, the shirt sheets and handkerchiefs crack in the wind, and the window ledge withering plants. The ladders and revolvers, they're parked by the door, and the bikes in its usual stance. Our evergreen trees lie withered and drooped, for they've poisoned our once fertile lands. The streets speak a deafening silence. Nothing stirs but the sand. A visit back home is so eerie today. It's a modern Pompeii in view. I see all the old shops and the Forest Hotel and the Pripyat Cinema too. The mementos we gathered are all left behind. Our photos, our letters, our cards. The toys of our children, untouchable now. Toy soldiers left standing on guard. So fare thee well, Pripyat, my home and my soul. Your sorrow can know no relief. There's a terrifying glimpse of the future is shown, and our children are all scattered like geese. The clothesline still sways, but the owner's long gone as the nomadic era returns. The questions in black and white blurred into grey, show the answers too easy to learn. Oh, the shirt sheets and handkerchiefs crack in the wind, and the window ledge withering plants. The ladders and Volvos are parked by the door, and the bikes in its usual stance. Our evergreen trees lie withered and drooped, for they poisoned our once fertile lands. The streets speak a deafening silence, nothing stirs but the sand. Oh, the shirt cheeks and handkerchiefs crack in the wind delights withering plants. Ah, the ladders and revolvers, they are parked by the door, and the bikes in its usual stance. Our evergreen trees lie withered and drooped, for they've poisoned our once fertile lands. The streets speak a deafening silence, nothing stirs but the sand. Oh, there's nothing left but sand. There's nothing left but sand. Oh, there's nothing left but sand. Oh, there's nothing left but sand. Oh, nothing left but sand. Boom. I thought it was just too good a song not to do again, because it's a very powerful song. Thank you very much. Where are we at here? Oops, a daisy. Very good. Every time I lift this thing, it reminds me. I started to tell that story, and then the mic went off. Do you mean in the first half? About starting, and when the folk revival came in, and the Corries were flying, and the Clancy's brothers were flying, and the Dubliners and the Furies and all these guys, and it was very trendy to be playing folk music and traditional music. But then that created a problem, because not everybody could play a fiddle or a banjo or a bouzouki or a guitar. Not everybody could do that. So what did they do? But they wanted to be part of the session. So what did they do? They went out in the butt of Bowra. See? And then what happened was everybody hated Bowra, because the session had one fiddle, one tin whistle, one banjo, and 9 Bowra players. It wasn't music at all. It was like watching a wildlife program. You know, the wildebeests are being chased at the end of it, you know, and they're flying through the desert, and the lion's coming, licking his lips behind, right? And all the feet. That's what I was saying. It was just a racket. So everybody absolutely hated the Bowra. So one night I was in London many years ago, at that time, in the early 70s, and there was a music session on. And this guy came in the door with a wee bag. You see? Now, you know everybody hated the Bowra. He came in with a wee bag, you see, and there was fiddlers, a couple of fiddlers, a banjo player sitting down there. And he walked in with the bag and he left it down at the counter. And then he ordered a pint of Guinness. And he turned and he went to the toilet. Now think of this. This is the early 70s. Troubles. All that stuff going on. And here's a guy with an Irish accent in a bar in London, carrying a bag, leaves it at the counter, and he F's off to the toilet. Wasn't good. So the barman, we were watching him, the barman was turning whiter and whiter by the second. And the sweat was lashing off him. And he was pulling the pint, but he kept looking out. He kept looking out at the bag. Eventually, and then he was watching the toilet to see when your man would come back. Eventually, your man dandered out casually from the toilet. And the barman come flying out. He said, wait, what's in the bag? Your man says, what are you panicking about? What's in the bag? Your man says, £50 of Semtex, £40 of fertiliser, 3 detonators, 2 hand grenades, and a sawn-off shotgun. Your man wiped the brow, the barman wiped the brow and said, oh, thanks, but Jesus. He says, we were panicking. We thought there was a Bowra in it. This is how much they were like, right? This is a wee song about a drink. I heard you talking about drink earlier on, were you? We don't do any of that, not half. Oh, there's sober men aplenty, some drunk at barely 20. There's men of over 90 that never yet kissed a girl. Oh, get for me a rambling rover, from Orkney down to Dover. We'd roam the country over, and together we'd face the world. There's those that fake enjoyment of merciless employment, and their mission was deployment from the minute they left the school. Oh, they scrape and save and ponder, while the rest go out and squander, see the world and roam and wander, and they're happier as a rule. Well, there's sober men aplenty, some drunk at barely 20. There's men of over 90 that never yet kissed a girl. Oh, give me a rambling rover, from Orkney down to Dover. We'd roam the country over, and together we'd face the world. Some say that drinks or course now can make things even worse now, but I've taken from many's a source now when my company did provide. When parting was no pleasure, I drank another measure to the good friends that I treasure, for I think of them all the time. Well, there's sober men aplenty, some drunk at barely 20. There's men of over 90 that never yet kissed a girl. Oh, give me a rambling rover, from Orkney down to Dover. We'd roam the country over, and together we'd face the world. When you're bent with arthritis, and your bowels have got colitis, and you've gathering coralitis, and you're thinking it's time you died. You've been a man of action, but you're lying now in traction. You can take some satisfaction thinking, be Jesus, at least I tried. Well, there's sober men aplenty, some drunk at barely 20. There's men of over 90 that have never yet kissed a girl. Oh, give me a rambling rover, from Orkney down to Dover. We'd roam the country over, and together we'd face the world. Oh, well, there's sober men aplenty, some drunk at barely 20. Men of over 90 that have never yet kissed a girl. Oh, give me a rambling rover, from Orkney down to Dover. We'd roam the country over, and together we'd face the world. Could we try it? Here we go. Well, there's sober men aplenty, some drunk at barely 20. There's men of over 90 that have never yet kissed a girl. Oh, give me a rambling rover, from Orkney down to Dover. We'd roam the country over, and together we'd face the world. We'd roam the country over, and together we'd face the world. Diddly dee dum dee daddly daddly dum daddly diddly da diddly dum dee da her up to diddly dum dee da la laddly dum dee da her up to diddly dum diddly da daddly dum dee da her up to diddly diddly da da diddly da diddly dum diddly dum diddly da diddly dum dee da her up to diddly diddly da diddly dum dee da her up to diddly dum diddly da diddly dum dee da, rum to diddly doodly da, lick diddly doodly da, laddly diddly rum to dee da, darly diddly dum to diddly rum to diddly da, diddly da, diddly dum to diddly rum to diddly doodly diddly da, diddly dum to dee da, rum to diddly doodly diddly da, diddly dum to dee da, rum to diddly doodly diddly da, diddly dum to dee da, rum to diddly diddly da da da. Whoa! Right. Okay. How are we for time? One for the road. Right, we'll do... Yep. We always keep one on the kitty. One for the road. That's usually applies to drink, doesn't it? One for the road. And one for the ditch. And one for the white light. And one for the bend. And one for the footpath whenever you mount the car up and hit it well. Here's a wee song. You can use your imagination with this one now. If you want to take a different meaning out of it, I'll leave that up to you. But don't come complaining afterwards. if your mind goes in the wrong direction, you are responsible. This is about a wee German came to Derry one time. Jean, how are you keeping? Still here. Wee German came to Derry. I hope you didn't meet this wee German now. Because he fixed clocks. But then apparently whenever he came to fix the clock, he was doing other stuff. He was putting new hands on the clock, but he was putting old hands on the man's wife. Right? Got an idea? And then you can let me know, Jane, if you actually met this German. Good chorus on it. Give me a hand. A German clockwinder to Derry once came. Benjamin Fish was the wee German's name. As he wandered away round the strand, he played on his flute and his music was grand. There was a wee woman from Grosvenor Square who said that her clock was in need of repair. In came the German to her delight. In less than 5 minutes he had put her clock right, singing tooralama, tooralama, tooralay, 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 tooralama, tooralama, tooralay, tooralay, tooralay. Then as they sat down on the floor, there came a very loud knock on the door. In came her husband. Great was his shock to see this wee German wind up his wife's clock, singing tooralama, lama, tooralama, lama, tooralay, 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 tooralama, lama, tooralama, lama, tooralay. Then said her husband, look here, Mary Ann, don't let that wee German in here again. He wound up your clock, he left mine on the shelf. If your clock needs winding, sure I can do it myself. Singing tooralama, lama, tooralama, lama, tooralay, 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 singing tooralama, lama, tooralama, lama, tooralay, tooralay, tooralay. I then said the German, sure don't mean you no harm. The spring wouldn't work in your wee wife's alarm. I took out my oil can and I give it a squirt. If you keep it well oiled, your wife's clock will work. Singing tooralama, lama, tooralama, lama, tooralay, 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 singing tooralama, lama, tooralama, lama, tooralay, tooralay, tooralay. Easy chorus, isn't it? Are we going for it? Here we go. Singing tooralama, lama, tooralama, lama, tooralay, 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 singing tooralama, lama, tooralama, lama, tooralay, tooralay, tooralay. By yourself, you know this one now. Here we go. Singing tooralama, lama, lovely. Great stuff, go! Tooralama, tooralay. You were that good, I'll allow you to do it again. Singing tooralama, lovely. Singing tooralama. I'll help you, we'll all do it together, and I'll help you. Singing tooralama, lama, tooralama, lama, tooralay, 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 tooralama, lama, tooralama, lama, tooralay, tooralay, tooralay. Thank you. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. Thank you very much. Lovely bit of singing. Lovely bit of singing.
Thank you very much, George. I think you might have another wee song for us.
Ah, yeah.
Thank you very much to our wonderful floor spot, Tristan Folk. And thank you also very, very much to Carrie. I'm not sure if she's still about at the bar there, who's looked after us fantastically well this evening.
Well done.
Thank you very much, Carrie. And I'll let George finish off for us. Thanks everyone so much for coming out, and we'll see you all soon. Keep an eye on the communication channels. There'll be some news soon about what's happening next. Thanks folks. Cheers, George.
Well done. Thank you. Good lad. We'll finish off with another wee song. Before I do, I just want to add on to what Charlie has said there. It was very appropriate. First, obviously, I like to thank the warm-up act by all means. And you're also members of the club, isn't that right? Yeah. I think that's a double bonus, because I go to a lot of folk clubs, but quite often the warm-up act, they come in from somewhere else. You know, I think it's lovely if a couple of people from the club come forward, because at the end of the day, it's great that they get an opportunity to do that. They put in a lot of effort to make the club work. There's a lot of things goes to make a club work, and part of it is that, taking part. And I very much appreciate them. They set the mood for me, and I'm not been patronising here. They set the mood for me for what I do, and obviously if they come up and do a nice wee set, then that makes my job easier when I come. So give them a round of applause, of course. Well done. Well done. Well done. I want to add the words to what Charlie had added. To yourselves, lovely bit of singing. You're the bread and butter of the folk club. Folk clubs don't work without an audience. They don't work without the committee and all the people that do the work. So at the end of the day, you deserve a lot of credit as well. And it's great if you enjoy it by all means, but you people are the bread and butter of the club. So give yourselves a round of applause. Why not? Go ahead, give yourselves a round of applause. And I'll finish off by saying a special thank, as I did in the first half. Unfortunately, I was just about to say it, but the mic went a bit pear-shaped. Those things happen. They happen. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. I'm sure Charlie's had problems like that before. That's part of the game. You know, that can't happen dead easy. But I have the greatest admiration for sound people. And for that alone, and all sound people, give Charlie a big round of applause. And also, I'm staying with Charlie tonight. So, I don't know how you would go about thanking him for that. Thank you very much, Charlie, because I appreciate that. Of course, that makes the thing possible. And also, I'm thinking about Alistair. I stayed with you last time I was here.
Judas is my new name.
Sorry?
Judas.
Oh, Judas. Alexander Judas. I stayed with Alistair the last time I was here. So, of course, the people that put people up, they're vital as well, and by all means. So, for the Alistairs, the Charlies, and those other people put people up, they do a great job. So, we'll finish off. Give them a round of applause for doing that kind of thing. A wee song about drink. Imagine finishing up on a night with a song about drink. Grog. You all know what grog is? Yeah. It's all from Me Grog. This guy lost the whole works. He drunk the whole works, and I mean he lost the whole works. We have lads over here who are good at that. They can drink a farm of land. That's fair and better going in it. They'll be given farms of land and they can drink at the very, very best. This boy lost everything due to the demon drink. Right. It's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog. All for me beer and tobacco. For I spent all me tin with the lassies drinking gin. Far across the western ocean I must wander. Oh, where are me shoes, me nagging, nagging shoes? They're all gone for beer and tobacco. The heels are worn out, the toes been kicked about, so the souls are looking out for better weather. And it's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog. all for me beer and tobacco, for I spent all me tin with the lassies drinking gin. Far across the western ocean I must wander. Oh, where is me shirt, me naggin' shirt? All gone for beer and tobacco. The sleeve's been tossed about and the collar's inside out, so the arse is looking out for better weather. And it's all for me grog, me jolly grog, all for me beer and tobacco. I spent all me tin with the lassies drinking gin. Far across the western ocean I must wander. Oh, I'm sick in my head and I haven't been to bed since first I came ashore with me plunder. Oh, I spent all me dough with the lassies, don't you know? Far across the western ocean I must wander. And it's all for me grog, me jolly grog, all for me beer and tobacco. I spent all me tin with the lassies drinking gin. Far across the western ocean I must wander. Where are me boots, me naggin' boots? They're all gone for beer and tobacco. Oh, me feet have got the gout, of that there is no doubt, so me toes are looking out for better weather. And it's all for me grog, me jolly grog, all for me beer and tobacco. I spent all me tin with the lassies drinking gin. Far across the western ocean I must wander. Where is me wife, me naggin' wife? She's all gone for beer and tobacco. She's now gone for good, with an awful lot each should, so my life is looking out for better weather. And it's all for me grog, me jolly grog, all for me beer and tobacco. I spent all me tin with the lassies drinking gin. Far across the western ocean I must wander. Where is me purse, me naggin' purse? 'Tis all gone for beer and tobacco. Sure I give it to the wife to have an easy life, so my bills are looking out for better weather. And it's all for me grog, me jolly grog, all for me beer and tobacco. I spent all me tin with the lassies drinking gin. Far across the western ocean I must wander. We always finish with the first verse, because everybody knows the first verse of every song. You ever notice that? You say, do you know the song? No, just know the first verse. Here we go. Where are me shoes, me naggin' shoes? They're all gone for beer and tobacco. These are worn out, the toes been kicked about, so the soles are looking out for better weather. And it's all for me grog, me jolly grog, all for me beer and tobacco. I spent all me tin with the lassies drinking gin. Far across the western ocean I must. Well, it's all for me grog, me jolly grog, all for me beer and tobacco. I spent all me tin with the lassies drinking gin. Far across the western ocean I must walk by yourself. And it's all for me grog, me jolly grog, all lovely for me beer and tobacco. Lovely. I spent all me tin, the lassies drinking gin. Far across the western ocean I must. One more for the road, here we go. And it's all for me grog, me jolly grog, all for me beer and tobacco. I spent all my tin with the lassies drinking gin, far across the western ocean I must walk. All together, and it's all for me grog, me jolly, jolly grog. All for me beer and tobacco, I spent all me tin, with the lassies drinking gin, far across the western ocean I must wander. Whoa! Good night! Safe home. God bless. And we'll do it again. We'll do it again somewhere along the way. Much appreciated. Well done.